Today, we're talking about the OSI model. Now, this is one of those topics that networking people love, and beginners look at it like it was invented specifically to ruin their mood. But the OSI model is actually just a way to understand how data travels across a network step by step. So instead of thinking of networking as one giant confusing blob, the OSI model breaks it into layers, which is great because if something breaks, at least now we can blame a specific layer. So what is the OSI model? The OSI model is a framework that explains network communication using 7 layers. Each layer has its own role, and together they help data move from one device to another. The point is not just to memorize 7 fancy names and pretend that you understand networking. The point is to understand what each layer is responsible for. Because once you get that, networks stop feeling random and start feeling a little more organized. Why it matters? So, why this matters is because the OSI model gives you a structured way to think about problems. If something is not working, you can ask, is it the cable? Is it the IP address? Is it the app? Or is it the session? Instead of panicking, you troubleshoot layer by layer, and that makes networking way easier to understand. So, the 7 layers of the OSI model: the application layer, the presentation layer, the session, the transport layer, the network layer, the data link, and the physical layer. Now, yes, these are mnemonics for remembering them, and networking students have been using those for ages. But the main idea is simple. When data is sent, it moves down these layers, and when it is received, it moves back up on the other side. So the data basically goes on a layered road trip. Top layers, the user and data formatting. So layers 7 to 5, the top 3 layers are closer to the user and the application side of things. The application layer is where the programs like browser and email clients interact with the network services. The presentation layer handles things like formatting, translating, and the encryption. So this layer helps make sure the data is in a usable form. The session layer manages the actual conversation between the devices. It helps start, maintain, and end sessions. So these layers are basically where the communication gets prepared before being handed down for delivery. The middle layer, or the delivery and the routing. Now we get to the layers that do a lot of heavy lifting. The transport layer is responsible for end-to-end delivery. This is where reliability, segmentation, and port number comes in. Protocols like TCP and UDP lives here. Then comes the network layer. This layer handles logical addressing and routing. This is where IP works and where data figures out how to be moved between networks. So if transport is making sure the message is delivered properly, the network is figuring out where it actually needs to go. So the bottom layer, which is the local delivery and the hardware. At the bottom, we have data link and physical layers. The data link layer deals with frames, MAC addresses, and local delivery. This is where switches do a lot of their work. Then the physical layer is the actual hardware side: cables, signals, connectors, radio waves, electrical pulses, and all the physical stuff that carries the bits. So by the time you get here, the data has gone from the application logic all the way down to the actual signals moving through the real world, which is honestly a lot of work just to load one website. So, The final takeaway is the OSI model breaks network communication into 7 layers. Each layer has its own job, and together they help data move from one system to another. This is why the OSI model is so useful. It gives you mental map for understanding how a network works and where things can go wrong. Because when data stops moving, one of these layers is almost definitely causing trouble. If you want more networking and cybersecurity topics explained in a simple way, subscribe and tell me what I should cover next. And make sure to give a like on this video. See you in next one.